Alright guys, what is going on? It is Oink here, bringing you the latest in GT5 seasonal events with the Supercar Festival. This is the latest as of 25th, and I'm going to be going into each of the different races and which car I used, etc. So as I said, it's the Supercar Festival. You find it first on the list on the seasonal events. The entry requirements is simply just a maximum performance points of 620 and a maximum tyres of Sport Soft. Because it's Supercar Festival, the typical opponents are Supercar themed, and I kind of thought I'd go along with that. You'll see in a moment. The tracks is Gran Speedway, Special Stage Route 5, Indy Speedway, Road Course, Fuji, and an Eiffel Custom. And the prize car is the Ford GT Le Mans race car. Really nice car. It's a standard, sadly, but a very worthy prize for this event. The car that I've chosen to go with is 2010 SLS AMG, all custom tuned. I've tuned this one up quite high. Obviously you want to be using the maximum sports soft tyres that you can use. Brakes left the same. Done a bit of custom suspension here, so if you get the fully custom kit there, drop the ride height just very slightly, down by 3 on the front and back. Reduce the spring rate just marginally on the back, so I get a nice bit more power on those rear tyres. Keep the dampeners. You might want to increase the extension very slightly, but I left it at 6 just for now, and that worked out fine. Fully upgraded the clutch and flywheel, blah blah blah, and left the LSD just the same. On the gear ratio, I would recommend 199 to 205. It's good balance, and also you don't really need that much top speed on these. And then basically just no supercharger. I didn't use a supercharger, but basically just take the upgrades to get you enough to 620, and as per usual just tone down on the power limiter each time your car increases in performance points as you race it. So just keep it on 100%, max it out as best you can, and then each time turn it down. Got a few upgrades. I've got the Stage 3 engine and the Stage 3 chassis, window weight reduction, and the carbon bonnet. Got the rear wing on 40 downforce, no ballast. Looking extremely sexy in a matte dark grey with a black carbon fibre bonnet and rear spoiler. It looks fantastic. I love this car. Right then, so let's get into the first race then, Grand Valley Speedway. This is probably the easiest of the lot. However, none of them are, particularly easy. You will need to concentrate. Obviously, you're up against high-powered opponents, so generally the faster the opponents, the less easy it is for you to make mistakes, because one mistake will cost you a lot of time against a fast opponent. Generally with this setup, the car is just unbelievable. I really had a great time driving this car. It is just such a fantastic car to drive. It has a perfect balance of on the corners. It doesn't oversteer too much. We can get a lot of power through, but at the same time it handles fantastically. Really nice. I just love driving this car. It's really nice, and I found quite a nice setup for it here that I showed you. Just watch out not to put too much power down out on the flats as you come out on corners. You'll notice, if you keep a careful eye on my acceleration meter there on the bottom left, you'll notice a lot of times I'm using a lot of accelerator control, especially in and around the corners. Just really, you don't want to get too aggressive on the pedal there. Other than that, you can really enjoy this first course. I find it not to be too hard, and yeah, like I said, just to get used to the car. This is a chance to really just see what it can do and what it can handle. And taking the Pagani Zonda in first position on lap 4 out of 5, and I mean I could have easily done that pretty fast. It wasn't the best of laps, and yeah, so there you go. There's the first track. Shouldn't be too tricky. Special Stage Route 5 is track number 2. Now this one's a little more challenging. Again, not super difficult. You should be able to handle this one. This is just try and keep your speed nice and high. This car, again, it handles so well. You can really throw it into the corners at ridiculous speeds sometimes. Just watch out for the occasional bit of a understeer there. You don't want to, you might throw it in too fast and then just not get the turn. Make sure you're turning in early. That's the crucial thing with this. If you get the turn in early at a reasonable pace, you should be able to accelerate through. Just watch out on this flat corner here. You get slight paving stones and they're pretty slippery, so just watch out putting too much power down through there. And coming through this corner here, just watch out on the bump there. I'll show you what you want to be doing and sort of don't want to be doing, if you see what I mean, because it can throw you off. I'm using settings wise absolutely everything turned off except for ABS set at 1. Yeah, it's literally everything turned off, like I said, except from the ABS. This is the corner that I'm telling you about. So this is a really nice line through here. This is what you want to do. Now what you want to do is avoid cutting the corner on the inside there. It's kind of tempting, but actually you're faster without doing it. If you can get the perfect line between those two corners, you can get a lot more speed. And this is what happens if you don't do that. I clipped it there, got understeer because I lost grip, hit the side and spun. Really bad mistake, really messy. However, it meant that the R92, whatever it is, the Nissan road car there, actually managed to overtake me, but I just pulled it back. I mean, I did have a good lead on him, so if you don't mess up, you shouldn't have a problem. But it's just an example that if you do make one slip up, can cost you the race. I just bring it back with half a second to go there and take the first place. But just watch out there, just not to clip anything or cut too close here. Indy, it's the Indy road course, is the third track in. Literally the main thing with this is not to put too much power down. It's a much flatter course than the other two, the two previously that we've been through. So putting power down too heavily too early can just cause it just to oversteer a little bit too much. I mean, the car handles well enough that even if it does oversteer, you can control it, put it into a little bit of a drift and recover it and not lose too much speed. But I would generally advise trying not to do that, as it can just end up sometimes spinning you out, and obviously that's not the best thing. Another major point to watch out for is this straight. You're coming in at extreme speeds, and if you mess up there, you can lose really a lot of time and almost basically stop yourself from winning the race. What I would recommend on the first couple laps, brake early, you know, make sure you're giving yourself plenty of time. Then if you get it too early, you can just shift up one gear, accelerate in and brake again at the appropriate time. Each lap, and you'll see just you can cut it closer and closer. So you can see here on my last lap, I get it perfect, lined up, straight through, keep lots of speed, and should be able to gain a lot of time on the computer there as well on the AI drivers, because they take that quite slow. There was a McLaren F1 out in front, extremely fast, which is why I struggled to catch up with it until the very last straight, and going into a straight with an F1 is never a good idea. I did manage to edge him out there, so pretty tough one there, but not, you know, as long as you don't slip up, you should be fine. Track number 4 then is Fuji. Again, this one you got that straight with the chicane, or the hairpin, sorry, I should say, right at the end. It's something to watch out for. Actually had to do this one a few times. I really found that the car was just struggling a little bit. For example, on that hill there, putting too much power down. Like you can say, that guy thinks it's a drifting or something. I have no idea what he's doing. But putting too much power down on these hilly sections really just puts all the weight set right at the back, and you can end up basically just skidding all over the place and losing all control. So just really careful. Accelerator control on this track is an absolute must. And similarly with the Indy, just watch out on that final straight, not to overcook it, because again you will lose a lot of time. I found with this one, if you keep it nice and smooth, nice and fast throughout the whole thing, you shouldn't have a problem getting the win. If you do make basically 1 or 2 slip-ups, you will struggle there. And I've just done an example where I get to lap 4 out of 5, and I'm behind the Bazonda in front, and it just puts up an insanely strong fight. I mean, it was really tough to catch. You know, he was almost basically the same speed as me. I did have to drive pretty well to eventually catch him up. Despite it looks like I've done this in plenty of time, lap 4 out of 5, don't get it the wrong way, because if he'd made one slip up, it would have just been really hard to catch up with him because he's so fast. So you really do need to just stay on top of it. By the end of lap 5, he was only slightly behind me. Last track, Eiffel. Okay, yeah, no idea what goes on. The first corner of the first lap, seems everyone spins out. I've had like 5, 6, 7 car pile-ups on that first corner. It's mad. You get like stuff reversing into the middle of the road when you're powering down at 150 miles an hour. It is nuts, and it can screw you over. Good thing it's only the first corner of the first lap, and you can just restart if someone does like fully crash into you, and it is horrible when they do. A good advantage of it is you just basically skip ahead to like 4th or 5th after the first corner. This is actually, I found, the hardest one. It's the easiest track by a long way. I mean, literally there is nothing to the track, just lots of wide sweeping corners, a bit of hill, so watch the accelerator. But really, the tricky thing was the F1, you know, and if you can just keep it solid and consistent, you shouldn't have a problem catching up with him. That's the end of the video, guys. Hope you found this useful anyway, and I'll catch you guys soon. Peace.